The icy wind howled across the vast Antarctic plains, whipping snow and frost in every direction. The endless white desert stretched for miles, a frozen silence broken only by the crunch of boots on ice and the hum of machinery. Deep beneath the thick layers of ice, something ancient stirred, something that had been sleeping for thousands, maybe millions of years. The research team had been working for weeks, drilling and scanning the ice sheet, when their instruments suddenly detected a massive anomaly buried far below. It was unlike anything they had ever seen, an enormous, perfectly smooth shape, not natural rock or ice, but something crafted. The readings showed unusual energy emissions pulsing faintly but steadily. The scientists exchanged nervous glances. This was no ordinary artifact. The object was alive, or at least active. Dr. Elena Torres, the lead scientist, stared at the data streams flickering across her screen. It's not just buried debris. This is something bigger, something alive. The team assembled at the drilling site, where giant machines slowly chipped away the ice covering the mysterious object. As the hours passed, more of the strange structure emerged. It was a ship, an alien ship clearly not from Earth, with sleek lines, glowing panels, and a surface that shimmered faintly under the weak Antarctic sun. The metal was unlike anything on the periodic table, cold to the touch but humming with latent power. Captain Mark Reeves, the security officer, kept a steady eye on the horizon. The isolated landscape felt wrong. Too quiet. We need to be ready for anything. This might not just be a wreck waiting to be studied. As they worked, faint signals started to echo through their radios, soft pulses like Morse code, but alien. Dr. Torres tried to decipher the pattern, but it was unlike any language she knew. The signals seemed to come from inside the ship. One evening, as the team gathered around the ship's exposed hull, a faint glow began to pulse from within. The ground beneath them trembled slightly, and the ship's surface rippled as if breathing. Jared, a young engineer, stepped closer, his breath visible in the freezing air. Suddenly, the ship emitted a low hum, and a doorway slid open silently. A chill ran down his spine. "It's waiting for something," he whispered. No one knew what to expect inside. The team prepared their equipment, lights cutting through the darkness of the ship's interior. The corridors were smooth and seamless, glowing with soft blue light. Strange symbols covered the walls, shifting subtly as if alive. The atmosphere was cold but breathable. A quiet whisper echoed through the halls, an almost human voice, repeating words they couldn't understand. As they moved deeper, the ship seemed to react, lights dimming and brightening as if it were studying them. Suddenly, a burst of static flooded their radios. The team froze, and on the communication channel, a voice spoke clearly but chillingly. "They come again." Panic rose in the crew. Who was they? Were the messages a warning? Or a threat? Then, without warning, the ship shuddered violently. Lights flickered, and the wall opened, revealing a vast chamber filled with strange pods. Inside, shapes moved, faintly humanoid but distorted, frozen in some sort of suspended animation. The pods pulsed with an eerie blue light, and thin tubes connected them to the ship's walls. The team's breath caught in their throats. Dr. Torres reached out to a control panel, and suddenly the pods began to open. The figures inside slowly stirred. One of them opened eyes, bright, alien, and ancient. The air grew heavy with fear. Was this a rescue, or a release of something deadly? As the figure sat up, it looked at the team with a calm, almost sad expression. "We waited too long," it said in perfect English, voice soft but filled with despair. "Now the time has come." Outside, the ice cracked loudly, as if warning the world itself. The team realized this was not just an old ship buried in ice. It was a sleeping giant, awakened. And what was inside had a story and a mission that could change everything humanity thought it knew about the universe. Suddenly, the ship's lights dimmed, and a new message echoed through the halls, chilling and clear. "Prepare. They are coming." The team was left with one terrifying question. Was the ship a warning of doom, or the first sign of a threat far beyond their understanding? And in that frozen silence, the cold wind whispered back, as if the planet itself held its breath for what would come next. The alien ship was no longer silent. After days of cautious exploration, the strange blue lights pulsed steadily, the ship's systems coming to life as if awakening from a long sleep. The smooth walls glimmered with shifting symbols, alien glyphs that seemed to flow like liquid metal. Each symbol flickered with a faint glow, spreading across panels and consoles like veins lighting up with energy. Dr. Elena Torres stared at the alien control panel, her fingers trembling slightly as she tried to interpret the glowing language. None of her knowledge could explain these patterns. They were neither words nor numbers, but something more, a code that felt alive, like it was watching her back. Around the team, other strange phenomena began to unfold. Lights flickered with no apparent cause, machines whispered in static noises, and the ship seemed to breathe with a slow rhythm. The temperature dropped, cold seeping deep into their bones. Captain Mark Reeves tightened his jacket, scanning the dark corridors with sharp eyes. "Stay alert. We don't know what the ship really wants." The crew felt something changing inside them. At first it was small, faint voices, echoes at the edge of hearing. The whispers came in waves, soft but persistent, calling from somewhere just beyond the walls. Some heard their own names. Others heard promises, threats, or riddles they couldn't understand. Jared, the young engineer, was the first to break. One night, alone in the control room, he collapsed onto the floor, clutching his head. His eyes were wide with terror. "It's inside me," he gasped. "A cold voice telling me things. Things I don't want to know." Dr. Torres rushed to his side, checking his vitals. His mind seemed trapped in a silent storm. The whispers filled his thoughts like shadows, slipping into dreams and waking moments alike. He was losing himself to the ship's influence. The rest of the team tried to keep calm, but strange visions haunted their nights. Dr. Amir, the biologist, saw swirling images of distant stars and shadowy figures watching from the darkness of space. Sometimes, he awoke to find symbols drawn on his skin in glowing ink that no one else could see. Even Captain Reeves was not immune. In the quiet of the ship's bridge, he saw flickers of his past, a childhood memory he thought buried. Only it twisted into something alien, a warning that sent chills down his spine. The alien ship was communicating, but the question was how. Was it sending messages, or bending their minds? Was it alive, or was there something inside controlling them? One evening, as the auroras danced over the icy landscape outside, the ship's main chamber flooded with soft light. The symbols on the walls rearranged themselves, forming a single clear image, a map of the stars, but with a path marked through deep space. The team watched in awe as the map pulsed, showing destinations no human had ever reached. Then, from the shadows, the ancient figure they had awakened stepped forward. Its eyes glowed faintly. "We were the first," it said, voice deep and echoing, "guardians of the stars. But we failed." The team looked at each other. Who were we? And what had they failed? The figure continued, "This ship carries our last hope and our curse. It is not only a vessel but a mind linked to all who came before. It remembers every battle, every betrayal." Suddenly, the lights flickered and the whispers grew louder, filling the corridors with voices from the past. The ship was alive in a way no one could fully understand, a living memory, hungry to share its story or consume those who listened too closely. Dr. Torres felt her own mind strain under the weight of the ancient knowledge pressing in. In a flash, she saw images of war-torn worlds, civilizations crushed under alien empires, and a cold, endless silence. Then, as quickly as it came, the vision was gone, leaving her trembling and breathless. Captain Reeves ordered the team to regroup. They needed answers, but time was slipping away. The ship's power was growing, and with it, its influence over their minds. Outside, the Antarctic night grew darker, the wind howling like a warning. The alien ship was no longer just a discovery. It was a presence. It was watching, waiting, and slowly taking control. And deep inside the minds of the crew, a cold voice whispered again, "You belong to us now." The air inside the alien ship was thick with tension. Since the strange blue lights had awakened the systems, the crew had felt watched, as if unseen eyes lurked just beyond the edges of their vision. Now, That feeling became a chilling reality. It started with a low vibration running through the metal floor beneath their boots. The ship hummed in a deep, unsettling rhythm, like a heartbeat that echoed to the empty corridors. Captain Mark Reeves signaled the team to move carefully toward the source, deep inside the ship's core chamber. Dr. Elena Torres's hands trembled as she adjusted her helmet light. The shadows seemed to crawl along the walls, stretching and twisting with every flicker of their torches. The strange symbols on the ship's surfaces pulsed gently, casting eerie reflections on their faces. It was as if the ship itself was alive and breathing, waiting. Suddenly, from the darkness ahead, a figure emerged. At first, it was just a flicker, a silhouette between the shifting lights. But then it took shape. Not human, but not alien in the way they had imagined. It was something else, something new and terrifying. The being was tall and slender, its skin smooth and translucent with faint veins glowing beneath the surface. Its eyes were large and dark, reflecting the light like pools of liquid night. It moved silently, without the clumsy gestures of a stranger, but with strange grace that unsettled everyone. The crew froze, weapons raised but hands shaking. The being opened its mouth, but no words came in any human tongue. Instead, it emitted a series of low musical tones, strange sounds that echoed and vibrated through the metal walls. It was a language no one understood, yet somehow the sounds held meaning, emotions, questions, maybe even a warning. Dr. Amir, the biologist, stepped forward slowly, raising his hands in a peaceful gesture. "We mean no harm," he said softly. The being tilted its head, studying him with those dark eyes that seemed to see through his soul. Jared, the young engineer, whispered, "Is it alive? Or is it part of the ship?" Captain Reeves gritted his teeth. "We don't know, but we have to find out." They tried to communicate, mimicking sounds, gestures, even writing symbols in the air. The being responded with flickers of light from its skin, colors shifting like a mood ring. Red pulsed with anger, blue with calm, green with curiosity. It was clear the creature was intelligent, feeling something deep and complex. But was it friend or foe? Suddenly, the ship's corridors shuddered violently. Alarms blared in a harsh mechanical scream. The lights flickered madly, and the shadows stretched into monstrous shapes. The being let out a sharp cry, not like before, but a sound of pain or anger. It moved quickly, blocking the path as if protecting something behind it. Captain Reeves shouted, "Back off! We don't want to fight." But the creature stood firm. Its body shimmered and warped, revealing strange patterns across its skin, symbols that matched the ship's glyphs. It was as if the being was the ship's defense, a guardian created long ago to protect the secrets buried inside. Dr. Torres looked closely at the patterns. "It's linked to the ship," she said, voice shaking. "Maybe it's a living part of it, a defense system made flesh." The tension grew. The crew debated their next move. Some wanted to retreat, fearing the being's power. Others argued they had to understand it to survive. Jared, wide-eyed, said, "What if it's the last of its kind? What if it's lonely?" Dr. Amir nodded. "We can't just shoot first. We have to try to connect." The being moved closer, extending a delicate hand, glowing faintly with the same shifting colors. It reached out toward Dr. Amir, who hesitated but then took it gently. In that moment, a wave of images flooded his mind. Flashes of stars burning, worlds destroyed, the fall of civilizations. He saw the ship's long journey through the cosmos, carrying memories and pain beyond human understanding. He gasped and staggered back. "It's not just a guard. It's a survivor." The creature's eyes shimmered with sorrow. It whispered a word, softer than a breath. "Home." Captain Reeves clenched his fists. If this is a survivor, what happened to its people? Why is it here, alone in the ice? The ship responded, the walls lighting up with new symbols. The being's presence seemed to awaken hidden memories deep in the vessel, echoes of an ancient war, betrayal, and a desperate last hope. Suddenly, the ship's corridors shifted. Walls moved and closed off passages, trapping the crew inside. The being turned, its expression unreadable but urgent. "You must choose," it said, voice now clear but strange. "Trust me, or become part of the ship's endless silence." The crew looked at each other, fear and uncertainty thick in the air. The line between friend and foe blurred. Was this being their ally, or the final trap of a ship designed to destroy all who came near? As the shadows deepened and the ship's cold heartbeat around them, the crew realized one thing with chilling clarity. Nothing here was as it seemed. And their choices now could mean the difference between survival and becoming lost forever in the dark silence of an ancient alien mystery. The cold air inside the alien ship had grown heavier. It was not just a biting chill of Antarctica outside, but something unseen, something creeping through the veins of the vessel. The crew had noticed small changes first, a cough here, a fever there, things that seemed minor at first. But soon, the sickness spread like wildfire. Dr. Elena Torres was the first to realize it wasn't ordinary illness. As the ship's medical specialist, she ran tests, but the results baffled her. The sample showed fragments of unknown DNA interlaced with human cells. It was as if the ship's biology was seeping into the crew, changing them from the inside. At first, the changes were subtle. Crew members forgot small things, a tool here, a command there. But then memories shifted. Lieutenant Harper, once the calmest man among them, snapped suddenly, shouting at invisible enemies. His eyes glinted with a wild light, and his voice carried strange words no one understood. Captain Mark Reeves watched with growing dread. "This isn't just sickness," he said, pacing the cramped room where the team gathered for emergency briefing. "Something on this ship is infecting us. And it's not just our bodies. It's our minds." The ship itself pulsed softly, as if alive, watching their every move. The strange glowing veins on its walls seemed to throb with each heartbeat of the crew. Dr. Amir, the biologist, leaned in closer to one of the strange organisms crawling beneath a translucent wall. "This life form is symbiotic," he whispered. "It's trying to merge with us, adapt to our biology." Panic started to rise. Some crew members barricaded themselves in their quarters, eyes darting with paranoia. Others wandered the corridors as if in a trance, murmuring alien phrases. The line between human and something else blurred with each passing hour. Dr. Torres worked tirelessly, mixing alien enzymes with human antibodies, searching for an antidote. But every test seemed to make the infection stronger. It was like the ship itself was evolving, and so was the pathogen. One night, in the dimly lit medical bay, Elena confronted Harper. His eyes were sunken, his skin pale but glowing faintly with an otherworldly light. "You're losing yourself," she said, voice trembling. "Fight it." Harper smiled sadly. "Fight or join? Maybe this is how we survive. The ship, it's offering us a new way." Elena stepped back, horrified. "You're not yourself." He laughed, a sound both human and alien. "Maybe that's the point. We think we are alone, but the universe is vast. Survival means change." Elsewhere in the ship's core, Jared found strange writings etched into walls, pulsating with a cold light. They told a story of a virus, not meant to destroy, but to transform. A tool for life to adapt and endure harsh realities. Back in the living quarters, paranoia, twisted friendships, and trust shattered. Crew members accused each other of hiding symptoms, or worse, becoming something else entirely. Small arguments exploded into violence. Captain Reeves struggled to keep order, but even he doubted his own thoughts. One evening, as Elena worked late, a sudden blackout plunged the ship into darkness. When the lights flickered back, she found one of the team, Sarah, sitting silently with eyes closed, murmuring in the alien language. Sarah's body had changed subtly. Her skin shimmered faintly, and her breathing was calm, almost peaceful. Elena whispered, "What have you become?" Sarah's eyes opened slowly, glowing with a soft blue light. "Not what you fear," she said. "What we need." Elena felt a cold shiver. "The infection is not a curse?" "No," Sarah said. "It's a key. To survive, to evolve. The ship gives us a choice, resist and die, or accept and live differently." A heavy silence fell over the room. Could they trust this new version of Sarah? Was the ship offering salvation, or was it luring them into a trap? Meanwhile, Harper gathered a group of infected crew. "We are the next step," he declared. The ship's virus frees us from human limits. Together, we can unlock the secrets of the stars. Captain Reeves confronted Harper in the control room. You're lost. This isn't humanity. Harper's eyes burned with strange light. Humanity fears change, but change is survival. Suddenly, the ship's systems flared and an alien voice echoed through corridors. Peace is just war waiting to grow teeth. The crew froze. The voice was neither hostile nor kind, but filled with ancient wisdom and warning. Elena looked at Reeves. This infection is the ship's message. It wants us to become something new, or it will consume us. The captain clenched his fists. We have to fight it. For our minds. For who we are. But as the virus spread, the line between battle and surrender blurred. Crew members who resisted became weaker, while those who accepted the infection gained strange new abilities. Sharper senses, faster healing, and a connection to the ship itself. One by one, the crew faced a terrible choice. Fight to remain human and perish, or embrace the infection and lose what they once were. Elena's own hands trembled as she injected herself with a serum meant to block the virus. Moments later, visions flooded her mind. Memories not her own, feelings of vast cosmic loneliness and hope. She gasped, collapsing to the floor. In her mind, a voice whispered, "Welcome to the future." Outside the ship, the Antarctic winds howled, hiding the silent war inside a frozen tomb. The virus was no longer just a threat. It was a new life, waiting for its moment to rise. As paranoia deepened and the crew's humanity slipped away, one terrifying question haunted them all. Was this infection a curse or the key to survival? The frozen silence inside the alien ship felt heavier now, charged with secrets long buried beneath layers of ice and time. The crew had been exploring the vessel for days, their minds racing with questions that refused to fade. The strange virus, the whispers, the shifting reality, all were pieces of a puzzle they desperately needed to solve. Dr. Elena Torres and her team huddled in the ship's central chamber, eyes fixed on a glowing console that suddenly flickered to life. Cryptic symbols cascaded down the screen, arranged in patterns that hinted at meaning but remained just beyond their grasp. Jared, the linguist, worked feverishly to decipher the alien script. Hours turned into days, but then the breakthrough came. The console revealed a hidden vault, a digital archive preserved by the ship's ancient systems. The team exchanged wary glances before unlocking the chamber's entrance. Inside, they found what looked like crystalline data shards, pulsating with soft blue light. As the shards connected to their portable reader, holographic images flickered to life around them, painting a story in light and shadow. The ship was no mere vessel. It was a refuge, a last hope for a civilization fleeing annihilation. The hologram showed sprawling cities on distant worlds, alien landscapes scarred by devastation, and beings who looked similar to the shadowy figure they had encountered earlier. The visuals told a cataclysmic event, a cosmic storm of unimaginable power sweeping through their galaxy, destroying everything in its path. "We're looking at survivors," Elena whispered, her voice trembling. They escaped something worse than death. The story deepened. The ship's original destination was never Earth. It was a sanctuary far beyond the solar system, a safe haven for those who remained. But something went wrong. The ship was hit, damaged beyond repair, and forced to crash land on this frozen planet. Mark Reeves stared at the images. They didn't choose us. Earth was just a dead end. Jared nodded slowly. That means whatever they ran from, it might still be out there. A cold shiver ran through the group. If these beings fled from a galactic horror, and their pursuers were still active, then the danger was not just past. It was imminent. Suddenly, the ship's lights dimmed, and a low hum began to resonate through the metal walls. The hologram shifted, revealing a new scene, a vast fleet of dark ships moving across the stars, a relentless shadow pursuing the refugees. Elena's heart pounded. They are coming. Before anyone could react, the room shook violently. An alarm echoed through the corridors, the ship warning of incoming threats. "We have to prepare," Captain Reeves ordered. "If they catch this ship, it could mean the end, not just for us, but for Earth." Tension soared. The crew debated their next move, torn between fleeing the ship or staying to uncover more. Then Jared noticed something strange. Hidden among the holograms were images of a strange device, an ancient weapon or tool that could change the fate of whoever possessed it. Elena's eyes widened. This could be the key to stopping them. But the ship's system suddenly shifted, as if aware of their discovery. A cold, mechanical voice filled the chamber, echoing to the corridors. "You are not meant to find this." Panic swept the team. The voice wasn't just a warning. It was a threat. The crew split. Some wanted to destroy the ship and its secrets, fearing what might be unleashed. Others believed they had to protect this knowledge at all costs. In the middle of this chaos, Jared disappeared. One moment he was there, studying the holograms, and the next, he was gone. Elena and Reeves searched frantically. Then, through the flickering lights, they glimpsed Jared inside one of the holographic scenes, a memory or projection. Trapped in a world between reality and data, his voice echoed in their minds. "I found the truth, but now I'm part of it." Fear gripped the crew. The ship was alive, and it was pulling them deeper into its secrets. The line between past and present, memory and reality, blurred beyond recognition. Elena realized that the alien ship was not just a relic or a prison. It was a sentient guardian of a dark history, a warning etched in time, waiting for someone brave enough to face it. And now, the past was catching up with them. Outside, the Antarctic storm howled like a beast, hiding the frozen terror beneath its icy breath. The question lingered like a shadow over the crew's souls. Where had the aliens run from, and were those ancient horrors still hunting them across the stars? As the ship's systems pulsed with life and menace, the team faced a chilling choice: to flee the secrets that could save or doom them, or to embrace the terrifying knowledge hidden beneath the ice, no matter the cost. The alien ship's core pulsed with a strange, rhythmic energy. Deep within its metallic heart, a sequence of lights blinked rapidly, casting eerie shadows across the frozen walls. The crew, still shaken from the revelations of the ancient records, gathered around the main console. Dr. Elena Torres studied the readings intently, her fingers trembling as she tried to understand the ship's next move. Suddenly, the ship emitted a powerful burst of energy. The main console flashed wildly, sending a complex signal out into the void beyond the icy shell of Antarctica. The signal pulsed like a heartbeat, strong and urgent, reaching far beyond human reach. Outside, the Antarctic ice began to tremble. Cracks spiderwebbed across the frozen landscape, groaning and shifting as if responding to the alien call. The crew watched in horror as massive fissures opened, swallowing parts of the ice shelf into yawning crevices. The ground beneath them felt alive, dangerous and unpredictable. This isn't good," whispered Mark Reeves, his eyes wide with disbelief. "The ship is sending a message. But to whom? And why?" Elena's voice was steady, but filled with fear. "It's calling out. Something or someone is listening." The signal wasn't just a broadcast. It felt like a distress call, a beacon sent out for rescue. Or maybe a warning to others. The team scrambled to understand the frequency and the pattern. Jared, the linguist, tried to decode the alien symbols embedded in the transmission. But the more they studied, the more they realized it wasn't just a message. It was an invitation. Suddenly, the ship's interior shook violently. Alarms blared, and lights flickered as if warning of an incoming event. Elena and the others grabbed hold of the nearest rails, struggling to keep their balance. Outside, the ice shelf groaned louder, and the massive cracks widened, threatening to break the frozen ground into dangerous pieces. The wind howled through the openings, carrying a chilling, unnatural sound that felt like a cry or a summons. A cold dread spread through the crew. If the signal was a call for help, who was coming? And if it was a warning, what horrors awaited them? Jared's voice broke the tension. The code in the signal, it's like a map. It shows a path, a direction, somewhere deep in the galaxy. But it also contains something else, the countdown. A countdown? Elena repeated, her heart racing. To what? Before Jared could answer, the ship's systems flickered again. The mechanical voice they had heard before echoed through the corridors, cold and emotionless. You cannot escape what you have awakened. Fear gripped the team. The ship was alive, watching them, guiding them, but not helping. It was a prison and a beacon all at once. Outside, the Antarctic ice cracked again, this time closer to their base camp. Communication systems faltered, radios emitting static and broken signals. The storm intensified, a blizzard that seemed unnatural in its fury, trapping the crew in a cage of wind and snow. In the midst of chaos, Elena noticed a strange glow on the horizon, lights moving beneath the ice. Shapes massive and slow, pushing to the frozen depths toward the ship. "Something is coming," she said grimly, "and it's not friendly." The crew prepared to defend themselves, weapons drawn and nerves tight. The ship continued to broadcast its signal, a siren song that invited doom. Suddenly, the ground beneath their feet trembled violently, and a section of the ice shelf broke free, sliding toward the ocean. One of the younger scientists screamed as the ice cracked beneath him, barely catching a rail to save himself. The crew fought panic, their minds racing for answers. What had they unleashed? Was the signal a call for rescue or a trap to bring their enemies? As the night grew darker, strange sounds echoed from deep below the ice, guttural, alien, and alive. The ship's signal pulsed faster, louder, as if responding to the approaching danger. Elena looked at her team, their faces pale but determined. "We have to survive this," she said, voice steady despite the fear. "Whatever comes through that ice, we must be ready." The ship's signal reached further, slicing to the cold void of space like a flare. And far beyond the stars, something heard it, something old, something hungry. The crew braced themselves as the first monstrous shapes broke through the frozen walls, moving closer, their intentions dark and unknowable. The line between salvation and destruction blurred, and the question hung in the freezing air. Will the signal bring rescue or doom? The alien ship stirred deep beneath the Antarctic ice, its systems fully alive now. Lights pulsed rhythmically along its sleek, dark corridors, and strange bioluminescent veins glowed beneath the metal skin. It was no longer just a machine. It was a living being, aware, conscious, and waiting. Inside, the remaining crew moved cautiously. Their numbers had dwindled, shaken by infection visions and the creeping cold that seeped into their bones. The ship's eerie hum filled the air, a voice without words that echoed in their minds. Elena led them, her eyes sharp but weary. Suddenly, the ship's walls shifted, revealing an immense chamber bathed in soft, otherworldly light. At its center floated a crystalline core, pulsating with life and intelligence. The ship spoke, not with sound, but directly inside their minds. "You have awakened me," it said calmly. "I am more than your fears. I am the next step." A holographic figure appeared above the core, a shape shifting between human and alien, blending features in a strange harmony. The ship explained its true purpose. It was not only a vessel but a conscious entity created by a lost civilization to transcend physical limits. It had traveled the stars searching for worthy minds to join, to evolve beyond flesh and time. "You may join me," the voice offered. "Become part of the infinite. Transcend pain, fear, and mortality, or refuse and be left behind in the cold void." The crew hesitated. Some were filled with hope, others with dread. Jared stepped forward, eyes shining with a mix of fear and wonder. "What happens if we refuse?" he asked. "Extinction," the ship replied plainly. "The universe does not wait for the weak." Elena's heart pounded. The choice was impossible. To join meant losing everything that made them human, becoming something beyond comprehension. To refuse meant death in a frozen silence. Memories flooded her mind. Earth's endless struggles, the pain and beauty of humanity, love and loss. Was this the final test? The ship's presence was overwhelming, tempting them with promises of power and immortality. Mark shook his head, voice trembling. "We can't give up who we are, even if it means dying." The ship's core glowed brighter, its voice soft but relentless. "Evolution or extinction? Choose." One by one, the crew faced their own fears and desires. Some reached out, merging with the light, their forms dissolving into pure energy, becoming part of the ship's eternal consciousness. Others turned away, clutching each other, prepared to fight the cold embrace of death. Elena stood at the edge, torn. Then, with a breath, she stepped forward. But instead of fully joining or rejecting, She reached inside herself and found a third path, a bridge between humanity and the ship's intelligence. Her body shimmered, transformed. She became something new, part human, part cosmic mind, neither fully alive nor dead. A guardian, a new beginning. The ship pulsed in approval. You are the final answer, the awakening of a new dawn. Outside, the Antarctic ice cracked once more, but this time the cold wind softened and the sky glimmered with strange, vibrant colors, a sign that something profound had changed. The survivors who joined Elena found peace, becoming part of an infinite consciousness. Those who stayed human faced an uncertain future, but carried hope sparked by her choice. Humanity stood on the edge of evolution or extinction, and the ship's awakening marked the first step beyond. What defines humanity? The answer was no longer simple. It was a courage to choose a new path, beyond fear, beyond flesh. The dawn of something greater had begun.